You see here that the number of billionaires increased. In 2000, there were about 500 billionaires all over the world. Today, it's around 2,800. So number of billionaires increased, but the number of people who live in poverty decreased at the same time. Decreased. Why is this so important? Because it's the proof that zero-sum thinking is wrong. This is a core belief of all socialists, zero-sum thinking. They think the rich are only rich because they have taken it away from the poor. But if this would be true, how to explain such a graph? Show it to a socialist who believes in zero-sum thinking and ask him, how is it possible that rich people only become rich because they take it away from the poor, when at the same time the number of rich people increased and the number of poor people decreased? Impossible. So this is why zero-sum thinking is wrong. Here's Nobel Prize winner Zitelmann, the quote, "Better world makes for a world of differences. Escapes makes for inequality," because the situation does not improve for all people at the same time in the beginning. That was what Deng Xiaoping said in China sometimes, that some people become rich first. Some people start to become rich, and then the situation improves for more and more people. I was in Vietnam now, by the way, for 11 days. They call themselves socialists, but I found here in the United States and Europe more Marxists than I found in Vietnam. No one believes they're Marxism, in spite of the fact that they call themselves communists and socialists, but they believe in capitalism there. And the same story, do you know this? Vietnam was the poorest country in the world in 1990, the poorest country in the world, poorer than African countries. 80% lived in poverty. Today it's less than 5%. Why? Because 1986 they started their so-called doi moi reforms, pro-market reforms, always the same story. Inequality. I can recommend you this great book from Walter Scheidel, The Great Leveler. It's research how inequality was reduced in history. And there were 4 main reasons: war, revolution, state failure, and plague. It has all something to do with violence. Inequality was reduced with violence. Even Thomas Piketty, you know, the French economist, left-wing economist, he wrote in his book, The Capital in the 21st Century, that the biggest reduction of inequality was during World War I and World War II. These were the great levelers. You have to know, when you want to speak about reduction of inequality, what does it mean? In reality, inequality was reduced by violent shocks, as Walter Scheidel says. On the other hand, prosperity came with peaceful capitalist reforms. There's a difference.